Please be seated. One of the reasons that I'm different than you is when I was a kid in grammar school, this is the kind of music my parents made me listen to. Classical. When you were kids, your parents let you listen to anything. Right? For the most part, they let you do any fucking thing. I rest my fucking case. See, I believe all the people on the earth shouldn't have been born. I don't believe in equal rights. Most of you should have rolled down your mama's fat thigh. Because most of your mothers gain 50, 60, 80, 100 pounds because they're pigs. But nobody tells women when they gain 100 pounds and they're pregnant that they're pig, do they? Do they? No. In Asia, it's God's gift. Or in the Philippines, anyway, it's God's gift. I don't have to go to purgatory. I've spent 13 years in Asia. I did my time. Almost 9 years in the Philippines, almost 3 years in India, and a little more than a year in China. I did my fucking time. We had bad news. One of our mentees died a few days ago. Arguably a star in the making. And I only bring it up because he went to the seminar in, I believe, June, and he sent his wife in August. Because for those of you that have significant others that have anything to do with your business, they should be here, the significant other. And for those of you that have a significant other that has nothing to do with your business, they should be here. Because the support factor that you think you have, you don't. And you'll figure this out soon enough. In the next 3 months, a third of you are going to come down, be very ill. A few of you will get pneumonia. And because the mental stress will be too much. And now that we've tightened up the program, and i.e. we have a 61-year-old British man that just broke the record. He did a deal from the day he left here, 73 days, which doesn't surprise me. People ask me, how long would it take you to do a deal? I say, if I played with my grandchildren, 30 days. Which I don't play with my grandchildren. If I got after, as Jocko Wacko would say, if I got after it, 10 days. Board, chairman, accountants, lawyers, banks, please turn off that. And you wonder why you're poor. Can't even fucking turn the phone off. Please sit down. You're sitting over here. Every day your seat will be changed. That's to protect the people around you. He passed away. He died in a car accident, and his wife is carrying on. But normally, your significant others don't carry on. This is an anomaly, and the reason I'm bringing it up is it's an anomaly. Normally, they just forget about it. But he passed away. It's too bad. It's more than too bad. But I bring it up because shit happens. We've had people drop out of the program because their 9-year-old daughter got pregnant. 9. You know, you can't come up with a reason that I haven't heard. Either a bullshit reason or a for real reason that I have not heard in 26 years. Going on 27 years, that why you've... last night you saw, we have a lot of engineers in the group. We have several people with multiple degrees, a couple PhDs, a medical doctor. That's all bad. That means this week is going to be harder. And for the people that have no degrees and just can barely wipe your ass and chew gum, it's going to be harder for you because you're going to have to listen to all the bullshit. I'm not apologizing for the bullshit. I'm just telling you that's the way it is. And most of the people with a multiple degree will fail. But we don't discriminate here. We take everybody. Well, not almost everybody. We don't take pedophiles and shit like that, but we've had double murderers here. Successful, rolling up healthcare in the southeastern United States. Double murder, he served his time. So you saw the backward bicycle. Now nobody in this room could ride that backward bicycle. I'm already telling you. We used to have one. Too much time fucking around, and the whole week nobody got it. But that's what we're doing here. We're reprogramming you. We're wiping the slate clean, and we're starting from scratch. And the reason why the kid was able to ride the bike and then relearn the bike after he stopped riding it is the same reason the kids do so well with the QLA model, because they don't have the baggage. They don't have the programming. Self-esteem is built the first 7 or 8 years. You saw a thing on Barron Trump last night, and then you saw the founder. What are the takeaways other than you didn't live that way? My children were raised more like Barron Trump than anybody that's ever come through the seminar. And you can say a lot of things about the president. Full disclosure, I knew him a long time ago, is that his kids, all in all, and yes, they started out with money, turned out pretty well. Pretty well. What are the takeaways about the young Barron Trump, the film? Yes, sir.
Is being programmed to be successful.
Nobody in this room, I play the music because that was the beginning. I didn't understand when I'm 7, 8, 9 years old why I had to listen to this shit. I didn't get it. My parents didn't explain to me, because my parents didn't believe in explaining anything to a fucking kid. I was raised in the era of be seen and not heard. If I opened my mouth, I got whacked. He was programmed. Very few people that have ever come through here have been programmed for success. Our world-class skier, who's on the Hall of Fame, Marcus Bauer, who was on the Austrian ski team, was programmed for success from he's 3 or 4 years old. Taken out of school, ski, blah, blah, blah. We've got a wannabe tennis player here, used to be, back in the day. We got a wannabe golfer. We got wannabe is the operative word, because they didn't turn out to be world class. Being ranked 5th in Poughkeepsie or Des Moines, Iowa, is not world class, but they had athletic abilities. The Williams sisters were programmed for success. Tiger Woods was programmed for success. And when we ask your parents, because when we have parents, your grandparents, parents, and grandchildren all in the same seminar room, they all look down. And the universal is, I'm sorry because I fucked up, is this. That's the universal, no matter what country you're from. And when you ask your parents, if they were here, the two predominant answers are, both of which are worthless, we did the best we could. And the second one, which is slightly better, is you don't know what you don't know. If I asked your parents, that's what they would say. You don't know what you don't know, or we did the best. Well, the best didn't work out, did it? How's your parents' program working out? And for those of you that have little kids, because self-esteem is built the first 7 or 8 years, if they're past 7 or 8 years old, I won't say you're wasting your time trying to reprogram them, but you're wasting your time trying to reprogram them. They're dead. They're through. It's over. You saw the founder. What are the takeaways about Mr. Kroc?
Doesn't fit to status quo. Doesn't fit to status quo.
To what else? Doesn't fit the status quo. What else?
Persistence.
What else?
Ruthless.
Let's keep that thought. Ruthless. We're going to talk about a lot of people this week. You're going to see 15 or 16 or 17 of the successful mentees on screen. And not one of them is ruthless. But they will all say, I had to get more ruthless, or I saw that I was failing. Because your current programs today, and that's why you're here, although some of you have had some success, that's all great. But you're here to learn how to create generational wealth that would normally take 20 to 25 years. We do it in 3 to 7, 3 if you do everything right, like Josh Kim did, and he didn't do everything right, but he almost did everything right. And 7 years if you step on your dick and you're fairly normal. Fairly normal. And generational wealth, depending on who you are, could be 50 million to 500 million. I know for me anyway, generational wealth wasn't 50 million. What else about the founder, Mr. Kroc? Yes, sir.
Sell your dream with passion and people will follow.
Most of you, not just you, when I say you, I'm talking generically, YouTube, all the seminars put together. But most of you kids have little or no leadership skills. Little or no leadership. Why do you think that, and I'm not making fun of Jocko. Why do you think Jocko and the Spartan guys have become so popular in the last 15, 20, 25 years? Yes, sir.
Masculinity is a dying art.
Pardon?
Masculinity is a dying art.
Well, masculinity is not an art, but masculinity is dying and has really been dead a long, long time. You can't find anybody like me that is 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 years old. There aren't any place in the world except Russia. A little bit in the Ukraine, a little bit in the old communist countries. There aren't any of me. I am a sad statistic to millennials and younger. Jocko is a real man. And if any, full disclosure, I've never talked to him, but we exchange emails. And he has, and the reason his book for kids has become so popular is because there's really very few alternatives to help program your kid. Forget being a success, for being a man and not squatting to pee. And when I say vagina or cunt, I mean coward. I mean a coward. What else about Mr. Kroc? Yes, sir.
Handshake deal don't mean anything.
Now, Bruce Whipple and I have had a handshake deal for about over 25 years. And I had a handshake deal with Suharto, the former terrorist head of Indonesia for 25 years. And he was a rapist, murderer, fucking, you name it, he did it. But as far as my experience with him, he didn't do anything. He always paid me for 25 years. So it's not what happens to you in life, it's how you interpret what happens to you in life. And one of the differences between the way I was raised and the way you were raised, when I was raised, it's sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt you. Okay, now it's just the opposite. What else about Mr. Kroc? Yes, sir.
Yeah, no issue taking away everything, including the name.
Correct. What else? Yes, sir, in the back.
Dropped his wife when she became.
Well, I mean, most of you shouldn't be married. You're married just because you can roll over on the old hag. What kind of fucking reason is that to be married? And the reason why you're still married to the old hag is because you can't get your willy wet. So you finally found somebody that'd fuck you, so you stayed with him. Now, what kind of reason is that to stay with some old crack? And that's the fucking truth. We used to list, we don't anymore, if you were a virgin or not. We don't list that question anymore. I'm embarrassed to say You have no idea the answers I got. You can't, in your wildest expectation or dreams or nightmares, you can't even imagine. Men in Japan fuck rubber dolls. Birth rate in Japan is going like this. They're not the only ones that fuck rubber dolls. Isn't that great for humanity? What else about Mr. Kroc? Yes, sir.
He had good people around him, like the finance guy, the lawyer.
Well, Jack Welch, who I don't know, but in my judgment is arguably the greatest CEO we've had in the last 7,500 years, used to be CEO of General Electric, GE. He says, I always try to be the least smart guy in the room. Now, he happens to be a really bright guy, so that's bullshit. But anyway, and I find that difficult as well. But show me your friends and I'll show you your future. You're the average of the 5 guys that you hang, you chill with. And I asked the question at the universities, just recently at University of Pennsylvania, which I had the privilege of speaking. How many of you would you like your kids to be like your parents? Nobody raised their hand. 480 people or 405, whatever it was. How many of you would like to have your kids be like you? Nobody raised their hand. This is one of the finest universities on the fucking planet. I'm not going to embarrass you because always there's one meathead in here that raises his hand, and then I fucking rip him the whole week. So I'm not going to do that here. But if your parents had done a good job, you wouldn't be here. What else about Mr. Kroc? Yeah.
He very quickly gave up on trying to employ his former associates, and he targeted people who were hungry, like the salesman who was selling Bibles and just wanted to get the win, needed to put food on the table.
There are people now that are running sales organizations that have never sold. In the UK, the US, never sold. that are running relatively large sales organizations, which when you listen to podcasts and the various other means that you've tried to get information about making yourself better, or whatever the words you use, I always wonder why you don't, just as, you know, you go, some of you have spent years Googling me to come here. That's embarrassing. Not just because you had to save the money, I don't mean that, but some of you spent years Googling me, looking for one little chink in my armor that maybe then you don't have to come. But there are no chinks in my armor, so you're still here. Yet you don't do the same research on the other fucking bums. Because they tell you it's easy. And because they're trying to sell you something else. There are no upsells, side sells. All the material, we're going to show you kids during the week that have created 50, 100, 500 million that I never met. Because 99.9% of the people that have benefited by QLA, I've never met. Because everything that you're going to learn here, save one thing, is on my site free. Nat West is the guy's name. Nat West. Do you know him? Okay. He opened up to Singapore. Anyway, okay. I just thought of it. I just had a surge of something. It's a guy that I knew from a different lifetime that might have known him because he was with a company that I'm familiar with. Actually, the whole world's familiar with. And what else about Mr. Kroc? Yes, sir.
When the brothers were slow to make a decision, he went behind their back and started taking.
And this is just the beginning, the trace. Success leaves clues. Already, virtually hardly anybody in this room can relate to Mr. Kroc as a person. Not because he's successful, not because he created a whole bunch of money and he changed countless lives. Not because of that. Because what he did to create it, you can't relate to. It doesn't resonate with you because it's not in your DNA. And when we talk about when we continue to talk about the various people, Gates, Jobs, Elon, etc., except for Jobs, the 98% of all the high-performance people on the planet are introverts like you. I'm going to say it again. 98% of all the high-performance people on the planet are introverts. 2% are extroverts, okay? Of that 2%, just because you're an extrovert doesn't mean you're an alpha male. And 10% of that 2% are alpha male, loudmouth psychopaths like me. If your communication skills get 5% as good as mine, you're a billionaire. 5%. Most of your communication skills in this room aren't 0.5% of what mine are. But because you're here, you have shown at least a willingness to change. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Whether you have the stick-to-itiveness and laser beam focus to take that to the next level and actually do it is another story. Okay, YouTube. Thank you.